Hey, Ari here, leader of the race mixing revolution. I wanted to talk a little bit about the future in this video. The future is a very strange concept that I'm trying to understand myself all the time. I'm trying to give myself all kind of resources to understand what is the future, what is the past, what is time, how do people change over time. And the future is a very strange thing because it is something that really doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is the present, and even the past, you could say, doesn't really exist. It's something that is no longer tangible, is no longer a state of being. And aside from the philosophical definitions of it, the real personal effects of us thinking about the future is very important. The fact that we even are able to think about the future and have a word for it is a very, very interesting thing. It's a very powerful mental tool. It's a very powerful factor of being a human being. And this is why I want to make this video. I want to talk about the future. I want to talk about why the future is important for race mixing. And I want to talk about how racism has changed in the past and what it's affected now. So if you think about all the major history events in the human world, how many of them have been affected by racism? This is a very difficult question to answer. It's a very difficult question to answer because there's a lot of factors for why anything happens. And that's something we always need to take with a grain of salt. That's something we need to accept, and that's something that we need to really be humble about. Because a lot of people would love to believe that there are one thing that caused one thing to happen. And a lot of times it's not that simple. There's a lot of things that cause things to happen. And even the way we identify them, it can be very misleading. But racism is a very big cause of a lot of problems for people over time. I'm studying a little bit in my own personal life, and I can see it in the world around me a little bit. But really, racism is something that even the people that used it, that embraced it, that exploited it, they didn't really understand it. They didn't need to study it. They didn't need to go to a school for it. Maybe even sometimes they didn't even need that much motivation to actually be racist. And that's why it's such a strange thing. It's almost something that we fall backwards into. It's just something that it's a product of our circumstance. It's just a matter of fact that we are racist, that we're always gonna have these racist tendencies, that we always see with our eyes, and we see what we see, and we can't change that. And we're very sensitive about the ways that other people look. Not just for their color of their skin, their eyes, their nose, their mouth, these kind of things. We judge people. We judge people based on functionality. We judge people based on how are they going to be looking at themselves. We judge people based on our own sense of self-identity that we project into somebody else. That is a very strange thing. And what does this have to do with the future? What is the future going to look like? What is the future going to be when everyone is mixed race? Let's just make that assumption. Everyone in the future is going to be mixed race. How is that going to change the future? And how are those people going to change the future? Because you have to remember, the human race is constantly being changed. Every generation, every cycle, every 100 years or so, the human beings that have lived in that 100-year period are gone. There is a brand new batch of human beings that are living on that planet. So 100 years ago, nobody that lives on the earth now has existed 100 years ago. Maybe a select few, you know? But you have to think about that, and you have to think about what you're setting those people up for and what we have been set up for. We are all new. We are all new to this kind of world. We were set up from another world that we inherited from other people doing things, and we're going to be doing the same thing for another generation of people. This is critical. This is very, very much so something that we have to be sensitive about. And if we're not, there are consequences for that. There are consequences for the people in the past that have neglected things that we have to deal with now. That's just a matter of fact. That's not something that I can change. That's not something that I think anyone can just snap their fingers and ignore. There's a lot of things that we inherit from the past, and not just from people, from the world, and many other things as well. And so my point here is that I really want to give the future people the best possible world that I can give them. Because I would love to just be born into a world that is perfect. I would have loved to be born into a different world. I was born into this world. I would have loved to be born in an even better world than this. I appreciate this world. I realize what this world gives me. And it's a great world, but it can be a lot better. And racism is just one of those things that we're going to have to address if we want the world to be a better place. And we can live with it the way it is now, and we can take our chances with that. Who knows what kind of changes there will be in the future. But we will have to take racism with us into those changes. And it could be very dramatic changes. It could be very intense, difficult changes. We don't know. We're living in a time of relative comfort. A lot of people still very uncomfortable dealing with very serious issues and personal existential crises, unlike anything that I would understand, or a lot of people that might be watching this video in Canada or the US might understand, or there's a lot of different people in the world. But really, if we can start now in creating a system, creating a set of philosophies, creating a genuine belief and a genuine confidence in a world of race-mixed people, I think that our odds in this gamble of what the future is going to look like, rolling the dice, let's see what happens, I think our odds are going to be a lot better in the future. I really believe that, and I know a lot of people believe that as well. I'm going to do everything I can to prove that, but I just wanted to make this video to set a precedence for let's make the chances of the world being better in the future better. And in a mixed race world, there's no guarantee. If there was, believe me, we would know. We would know if there was some kind of guarantee. But even with the technologies we make, the social changes we make, all these things that we do, none of them guarantee anything. Okay? But that doesn't mean we shouldn't do them. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't pursue the removal of cancer. We shouldn't pursue the science research that will eliminate cancer, because that won't guarantee infinite life if we don't get rid of cancer. Sure, but that is a very important thing to do nonetheless. In the same way, getting rid of racism through race mixing, we will still have identity issues. We will still have divisions. We will still have conflict. We will still have very serious personal vendettas and things like this against one another that we need to address and we need to be mature about and we need to be real about. But our odds of things going well will be better. I promise you that, and here's to the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I got a lot more videos coming out in the future. Please share my video, copy the link, send it to some people, share it on social media. Please support me on Patreon. As little as $1 a month, you can help me in these very critical early phases of the revolution, help me build it from the ground up. Please remember my words and take them with you into the future. And thanks for watching again. I'll see you next time.